Hello, my friends. Jacob is here, and it is
Tuesday, baby!
I'm happy that you're with me. That was a little test. If you got past me saying Tuesday, then you're ripe for the picking. This is going to be a good show for you, a crazy show, a timing thing. Every time I think that things can't get any weirder, then something else comes out in the searches at night that I do. I can't really say the media because none of this stuff comes out in the media. But when I'm researching, these weird things pop out, and then they are always connected to something else that I've done before. It's almost like every video that I do each week, it's like this is like, like the sequel. It's continued. The story continues, and today we're going to continue talking about the magnetic field of the Earth. Because, oh man, there was like an interplanetary shockwave that just smacked into us. So now why is this weird? Because I had just done the video on the Baskin sharks. Remember the Baskin Robbins sharks? Or the Jonah fish? I had just done a video on that. I had just talked about the magnetic field, and I had talked about that there's a belief out there. I had said, is this the event, right? We're going to talk about the event today, but in a way that most people aren't accustomed to. I just like the term, the event. I'm not going to be talking about what you think. So I hope that you're ready for today's show. I hope that you are buckled up because something just went down, and now it's like time to start to enter into that rest that we are all promised. It's time to walk into that kingdom of promise, if you will. So I hope you're with me. I gotta be honest with you. I enjoy our little talks every week, and I hope that you're taking it seriously. I hope that you are. I hope that you're not just taking this information as, some kind of kooky conspiracy stuff, and you're actually using the information to catapult you further in your life. Because the things that I'm sharing here, the things that I'm telling each and every one of you every week is, this is like life-changing stuff, people. And I'm seeing it more and more and more as the days progress. This idea that I say every week, that you're more than you know. This idea where I say every week, to seek the truth, teach me the truth no matter what the cost. This is so that each and every one of you can actually take that step and do it. And because you'll be answered in return, and you're going to start to see that everything's connected and that you have more power over your life than you know. And that there is like a greater plan that is set in motion, and that if you don't kind of jive with it, it's going to crush you and knock you over. And what I mean by that is, in life, you're given directions to go. And if you go the right direction, it's a nice little journey. But if you go the wrong direction, oh man, does it stink. Listen, I know that a lot of people say, how can you say that there is some kind of a God when I'm in so much pain all the time? And then I say, wait a minute, I'm in pain all the time. Today, as I'm doing this, I'm in excruciating pain. That's right. I am like flared up like you wouldn't believe. And it's a tough day. It's a tough day. It was hard for me to get out of bed, but I still went to the gym, and I still pushed myself to come and talk to all of you today, because this information that we're talking about is important. But there's a lesson in this, right? There's a lesson in it. Every single bump in the road has led me to where I am right now. So as opposed to, getting all down the dumps, because, it stinks being in pain. Listen, and I'm not saying just pick yourself up by the bootstraps and stop complaining, because I know how hard it can be. But every little bump in the road, it's all working together for our good. I was just telling my buddy at the gym today, I was just saying to him that, look, it's kind of like when things are emotionally and intellectually and spiritually okay, right? Sometimes the physical has to give you a little bit of a hard time. It's now and then in life you need to add a little extra weight so that you can become stronger than you were the day before. I say all of this because while I'm excited about the things that are going on in my physical life, if I were to look at it and say, wow, I'm truly, truly blessed, I could easily come on here and say, oh my goodness, I am cursed. It's just a way of looking at it. When I went to go visit my brothers for the first time, remember I went to Florida just a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing how all this is going to work together to the end of this video. And for those of you that aren't interested, come back in about 5 minutes. So I go out to, my biological father took off, left me and my mom. My mom was a teen mom. She was like 18 in the projects, a place called Wilbur Peck Court. Long story short, I never met my biological father. And I went to Florida just a couple of weeks ago because he died. He passed away, and I got the ashes. And I also got to meet my awesome biological brothers that I haven't met, like 3 of them. Okay. So now I was kind of excited about all this, but I guess on a subconscious level, on a level that I couldn't quite understand, I must have been provoked somewhere, because the day after I met them, now I'm in Florida, right? And you all saw I did like a video from there, and it was an amazing time. Y'all didn't know that I had shingles. I didn't even know. I thought shingles was like an old person thing, and I had shingles. The day after I got the ashes of my biological father, all of a sudden I got this terrible rash, like right here, and it was so painful. And I thought it was poison ivy. That's what I thought it was, and I'm glad that I thought it was that, because I treated it like that and I didn't make a big deal out of it. But my point is, shingles, I guess, last a little longer. My mother was the one that told me, you probably had shingles. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my goodness, that's why it was so painful. That's why it was this. That's why it was that. Very strange, very strange. If you had chicken pox in the past, it's, this virus is dormant. It comes back and it hurts. Long story short, better to think that it's poison ivy instead of that, because mine went away in like 7 days, 8 days, and I really wasn't that stressed out about it. But my point is that set me on I'm not in remission anymore. My Crohn's disease started flaring up, and then the last couple of days it's been very difficult to work. I had to leave work early the other day because it was just so painful. That was last night, and so here I am now, but so excited to talk to you, because even though I'm coming to you in this state, I want you to know, because it's easy to look at me and see a guy that's like, oh, he's got it. He's a very healthy young man, and he's so happy. Yeah, but I got to tell you, I work at being it, because I choose to be happy. I choose to see this pain as a motivation to inspire all of you. So that's why I'm including it in this video. I believe that the day that we're in, and I've said this for a while, is a great time of waking up. Some people want to call it enlightenment. I call it understanding Christ and being born again. And it's kind of like where you were in your life before, it's no longer where you're going to be. Because you're going to say, look, this first part of my life, this first man, this first Adam, which is what Adam means, mankind, okay? So there's this first Adam, and no matter how hard he works, he can never get ahead, and it doesn't really produce fruit, and he's always burdened, and he's doomed to die. Yeah, not the best life, because he's eating of that knowledge of good and evil all the time. He's always condemning himself for the things he does and condemning others, and mankind, right? In this first state, we're ignorant. We're dead to a certain extent. But then there's the second Adam, and this is the one that I'm talking about. And this is the day that we're in. The second Adam, this born again you, not the first you, not the first Adam, but the last you, the last Adam, the Christ in you. I get emails all the time. I got an email just today from, I got a bunch of them, but one in particular asking me if I was like some new agey Jesus guy and blah, blah, blah. I get this a lot. I get people that want to come at me from one side and then the other side, and everybody's trying to judge me and put me into a box, and they don't understand. My job here is to do one thing, and my job here is to get you to seek the truth and you're going to get it. It's only one truth. There's only one. And here's the thing, is it all has to do with love. Love is the answer. Love is the key. Nobody believes this. I'm going to actually give a shout out to my friend Braden. I didn't know I was going to mention this, but we were having a great conversation, and I'll even try to link his website, unless I forget. He'll remind me. We were talking, and he actually had said that he thought truth was more like a frequency or a vibration. And I said, wow, that would actually make sense. Because if truth has its own energy, its own vibration, if it has its own frequency, and I know Braden's not the only guy that's ever said that. I know that a lot of people think about that too. But my point is, if you think of it like that, our words, they're a vibration, they're an energy. Jesus said, my words are spirit and they are truth. So words are spirit, spirit is vibration, and truth perhaps is a different type of a frequency. So that's why you need to seek the truth and you need to operate in truth so that you can enter into peace and joy, because that's ultimately what you are at your core. And everything that keeps you from that causes pain. Now, we've all been asleep for so to and we've all been so strapped into, whether it's just life or religion or whatever, that we've forgotten to actually seek. To get to that next rung, you got to let go of the one beneath it. So it's all about learning and reaching higher. And the higher you reach and the higher you go, sometimes it gets a little scary. And I know that a lot of you right now are entering into that time that you've woken up. You started to think that there is more, and maybe you didn't have faith, but now you're starting to see that, words have power, and that truth may indeed be the only thing that sets you free. Like the scriptures say, the truth will set you free. And what does it set you free from? Lies. But how are you going to wake up unless some kind of alarm bell doesn't go off? Which is why I think this is very cool. This interplanetary shockwave, which has spawned some electric blue auroras. Now, a lot of people are talking about this event, right? Now, I've done videos about the pineal gland, okay? Jacob, in Scripture, he spoke to God at a place called Peniel, which is spelled a little differently, but a lot of people say that it's the same thing. I think it could be. If you've watched any videos on this stuff, if you haven't, I have one, and I'll link it at the end. You should check it out. But that all-seeing eye, well, it's actually kind of like a snapshot. If you take a slice of the human brain, you'll see actually the eye of Horus or the all-seeing eye or whatever. You'll see it right there because they understood that that's kind of like, as Descartes says, the seat of the soul. That's the womb of creation, if you will, the pineal gland. And some people think that it has been calcified. So I've been saying for a long time that this wake-up call was coming, that the September 23rd sign in the sky, that Revelation 12 sign where the Virgo, the Virgin with 12, crowned with 12 stars, was clothed with the sun, the moon at her feet. Jupiter was bouncing around in the womb of Virgo for like 9 months. On the 23rd it was born, and I had said, well, everybody was saying that it was going to be Nibiru and blah, blah, blah. And I think there's a connection. I'm not saying there isn't, but people were saying it was going to be the end of the world, and I said that it was about a baby about to be born. It was about a baby coming into the world, and that baby has come into the world in a lot of us, and it's starting to mature, and it's starting to wake up. And that's why I think that it's really cool that as I'm doing these videos and I'm talking about stuff where I talked about those 1,400 basking sharks, that now all of a sudden, the electromagnetic field, everybody's talking about it. And then there's this couple of days later, like I said, be on the lookout, maybe some kind of cosmic event is going to happen. You're going to get a big coronal mass ejection, and it's going to send all of this energy and all of this, all these solar waves, and it's going to hit us. And maybe we wake up. Maybe we go to another level. Maybe our genes change. on a genetic level. And I see people say that that's not possible, but our genes change all the time. They sent that guy up into space, right? Scott Kelly, and he came back looking younger than his twin brother, and now 9% of his DNA is completely changed. I have a video on that too, about how his telomeres extended. Which, does that mean that he's getting younger in space? Okay, so I had to jump in here. I had to just interrupt for a second. As I'm editing the video that you're watching right now, I come upon some new incredible information. I'm talking about genes, right? I'm just talking about how new gene, and all of a sudden there is a new new DNA found. We always think about the DNA as like a double helix, right? And all of a sudden there's another one. It's called the I motif. And it was discovered by a guy named Christ. That's right, the professor's name is Christ. Which is short for interclination, which means found from dwelling within or among, and motif, which means something that stands out on its own and also is proclaiming a new day. I think that's interesting. I'm talking about this cosmic wave that comes and crushes everything. We have a new magnetic field, right? We have a new organ, that interstitium. And now all of a sudden, new DNA. What's going on here, right? It's like a big movie. I think it's great, even if it is a great conspiracy. But you're the star. You're the it factor, baby. You're smack dab in the middle of this story. And you're all thinking, oh, I just work at the Dunkin' Donuts. Man, that's like I tell people all the time. That's your Clark Kent job, right? That's the Daily Planet. You're Superman, you're Supergirl. That's what you are, and the world needs us now more than ever. And when you understand that you have more power than than you give yourself credit for, you'll start to say things out of the blue that make no sense, and then they happen. Like I came here and said, I had some issue with Jerusalem. I don't know what's going on with Jerusalem. I think there's going to be an issue with Jerusalem. And then like a couple of days later, after my Jerusalem video, they make it the capital. And then I say this and I say that. And then boom, it happens and it happens and it happens. Because I think that there's a reason for it all. You see what I'm saying? Like I think that everything that we're saying today has importance and meaning. And I think that just by the mere act of me telling all of you right before Trump struck, where it looked like we were going to go to war with Syria. And everybody was saying that it was World War III. And I came on and I said, let's just say we're going to start hearing about peace in a week. Yeah, let's all go together. Let's think about Abraham. Now, I know a lot of you know this. When like a week later, boom, North Korea, South Korea. Maybe the stuff that I'm saying is real. Maybe I just need a lot more of you to come on and start seeing a better world for yourselves. And start acting with love and being kind to others and seeing, this world change the way we know it can change when we finally love and enter into that place that I'm talking about. And perhaps that this interplanetary shock wave, which like cut the magnetic field in like two or something, did something, because there's like now 2 magnetic fields. I talked about that in my last video. Weird stuff. Like, it's all so bizarre. It's like we're in a really cool movie, man, and you better enjoy it. You better enjoy it, not get stressed out. But it created this like insane aurora, and it was like electric blue. Northern Lights, they spilled all the way down to Indiana, but with a color and an intensity and a molecular makeup that is completely different than normal. Perhaps, indeed, the event has happened. Some people would call it the rapture. In the moment, in a twinkling of an eye, all's changed. right? Got to jump in there one more time and say, if you think about this, right? If the pineal gland is this, it's like we just got hit with this major solar wave of energy, right? Maybe the lights have gone on, and in that time we find this new DNA. It's all pretty cool. The lights are they're on, all right? And I know that you feel it in your heart. And I am not the guy to tell you what to believe. I'm the guy that inspires you to ask the one who tells you all that stuff. You'll get it, trust me. You want a new life? Start seeing it that way. From the end at the beginning. You see the end from the beginning. You don't figure out how you get there. Just know it. And know it. Start seeing the world the way you want it to be. Stop listening to the lies in the media and the lies on YouTube and the lies. Stop listening to the hate. There's a great proverb, as righteousness prevails, so will wickedness in the land. So in other words, like I've been saying, a lot of people, their lives are going to get a lot better while the world gets a lot creepier. And I hope each and every one of you aren't creepy, because I got a bunch of kids. I don't need to be freaked out by your creepy self. I love each and every one of you. Do me a favor, subscribe, tell your friends, share it around. And don't forget to give everybody a big hug like I'm about to give the Dan who's here right now. I love you, honey. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.